Hi, this is Dell with another edition of the Ebony Homeschool Chat. I was talking with one of our members just a few days ago, and she's actually very new to homeschooling. They're just getting ready to start, which is one of those woohoo, all right, just hats off to them. But we got into the conversation and we started talking about different types of learning styles. So I thought that would be something interesting to talk to you guys about today. And just have you start really thinking about your child's learning styles. And I'm sure that some of you have already done that. You're all over it, on top of it. But I think in a lot of cases, we jump into the homeschooling and we just kind of go for it. And we're not really giving a lot of thought to the individual aspects of our children. And we know that they're all different. We get that as parents, but I think sometimes when it comes down to the learning, we're not really putting two and two together, or we're putting it together and we're coming up with 12 or, something interesting. Early on in my homeschooling, and I kind of say my homeschooling career, because it kind of felt like it was a career because, 13 years, that's a good little bit of time to homeschool. Although there are many people who have homeschooled for 20 years or more. Wow. But early on, I had no clue about learning styles. The only thing I knew about learning styles was it existed. I had heard the term, but I never really looked into it to see what it was, what does that mean to me, and what am I supposed to do about it, and all of that. I never looked into all of that. And shame on me for not doing that, because it would have saved so much time and a whole bunch of headaches for myself and my son as well. We could have made a lot more progress had I really thought about learning styles and the significance that they have. But not only for my son did I need to know the learning styles, but I needed to know my own learning style. Now that thought really did not cross my mind. We were practically finished with the homeschooling before that part dawned on me, like, oh my goodness, I have a learning style too. And once I figured that out, then it was so much easier for me to get materials and be able to teach my son, because I understood his learning style and what he needed to do, but then I understood mine. And what I mean by a learning style is how we process information, how we understand things, how we interpret it, how we learn, because people learn so differently. And unfortunately, I was thinking that there was something wrong with me. I honestly thought that I was just slow. There was something wrong with Dell, but there wasn't. I wasn't slow. I wasn't behind. There's nothing wrong. Not a thing wrong. I just had a different learning style from some of the other folks in my house. I was visual. So I'm going to go through some of these learning styles. And let me see. I'm going to see if I can switch this over to the screen without something weird happening. Let me see. All right. And welcome back. Here we are with our learning styles. Now, there may be more learning styles, but these are just some of the ones that I looked up and got some information about these. Okay, so the first one is your verbal. And as I said when I was talking about the different types of learning styles, it's how people process the information. And the person who is verbal, they need to be able to talk through what they're learning, and not just talking through it, but sometimes they need to actually write it down as well. The person who is visual, like myself, I need to see it. I need to see pictures. I need to see things. I need to see images. And that's how I process the information, not in so much in terms of text, but definitely pictures, images. For me, if I see too much text, I'm pretty much done with that. So what I have to do is break things into tiny pieces so that I can process that information. So that visual person, they definitely need to see lots of pictures, lots of images. The person who is auditory, they learn the best by hearing things, whether it's a musical sound or whether it is just the spoken word, but they need to hear it. Things that go into their ear, those are the things that will stick in their mind the best. The person who is the solitary learner, well, that's the one who wants to sit by themselves and get their work done. They're the self-motivated person. Well, maybe not so much self-motivated, but the self-study. They want to work independently and they want to do things on their own. The one that is logical wants to have the reasoning behind it. You know, you can't go to the person who learns in a very logical manner and just tell them do X, Y, Z because, well, that's just the way it's done. So go do it. No, they need lots of reasoning behind it. You know, what's the point and the purpose behind this? They want the details behind it. They need to understand what's, the rhyme and the reason behind it. The person who is kinesthetic, like my son, they have to move in order to process the information, in order to even be able to give it back to you or to really comprehend what is going on. They have to be able to move in order to process it. Now, it took me a while before I figured that one out, and it absolutely made me insane that this child is doing all this movement because as a visual person, all of that movement, I'm seeing this, it's bothering me. So, our homeschool days were really interesting, to say the least. But eventually we got the thing worked out. But yeah, they have to move. And he literally, in order for him to answer a question, anything that required any more brain thought than what is your name, he would have to get up and walk around. He would have to be moving in order to answer the question. Otherwise, the child couldn't answer a thing. I just thought, are you kidding me? And at first I thought, okay, either I'm not teaching very well or this kid is just not getting it. But that wasn't the problem. I was teaching just fine. He got the material. But in order for him to process it, he had to get up and move around. So eventually we got some rubber bands and some other things that he could move so that he would be able to stay seated and answer a question. But his hands are moving, maybe his feet are moving or something so that he can get that information. And I've noticed that myself, even when I'm speaking, it's difficult for me to sit somewhere and speak because I need to be moving when I speak. Go figure. But anywho, that's where I am. So as a professional speaker, I cannot be moving a lot. I mean, I need to do some, but moving back and forth on the stage like a caged animal, that is not going to work. So I have come up with some little things that I can do so that I can move and be able to somewhat stay put so I'm not being a distraction to the audience. But that's a side note. And let's see, the last one that I have is the social learner. And that's the one who prefers to learn in groups or, wants to learn with someone. They just work better when they can have some company, when they are learning their material. Okay, so let's see what's next. Spiritual gifts. That is another thing. For those of you who are believers, look into your child's spiritual gift, but not just your child's. I mean, even for the learning skills, let me back up a little bit. Learning skills, you need to learn what your child's learning gift is. Yes. Learning style. Oh my goodness, I'm making up stuff. Style. That's it. Learning style. Learn what that is. But you need to learn what your own learning style is as well. So it will help you be able to process the information as you're trying to teach your child. The other thing is your spiritual gifts. For those of you who are believers, you need to look into that, because knowing what your spiritual gift is, as well as your child's spiritual gift, it's going to help you avoid a whole lot of craziness. It's going to help you to understand things that you should do and things that you just need to avoid like a plague. My spiritual gift is the gift of service. And because it is that, there are certain things that I know I need to stay away from because it will just make me absolutely insane to participate in it, and I need to move back from it. There are other things that I know, hey, this is perfect for you. You need to be all over this, because I understand my gift and how it works and how it doesn't work. So that's something that as a parent, you really need to look into that and just see how that works for you and for your child and for other family members as well. It just helps things to flow a lot more smoothly when you understand why people do the things that they do. I mean, a lot of times it may look like, oh, they're just being disobedient or they're being, whatever. But no, that's just the way that they're wired, and we need to understand how to navigate that, those gifts. Now, I'm going to look at just a few of them. There are more spiritual gifts, and I kind of looked up some of them. These are probably the more common ones. I saw some other ones on the web, and I kind of looked at some of them, and I'm thinking, you just made that up. Like, that can't be true. But I don't know. I'm no theologian. I don't know all the spiritual gifts, but these are the ones that I am at least somewhat familiar with. The gift of administration, exhortation, giving, mercy, service, teaching. I am sure there are more. All of the ones that were listed, not sure about all of those, but these are the more common ones. Let's see. In Touch Ministries with Dr. Charles Stanley. Absolutely excellent resource to find out more about your spiritual gifts. He has some articles that he's done, and I think devotions, I'm not sure, but I know he has articles on the website. But he also has some audio things, and he has some videos as well. So for those of you who are visual and want to watch it, you can do that. The auditory learners can listen to it. And let's see now, probably the logical ones, I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe logical or verbal. They might want to read it, but nevertheless, all of that is on there. I encourage you to go to the website. I shortened the link because it was just way too long. And even looking at the link there, maybe. If you can pause the video and just copy and paste it, I'm hoping that'll work. I don't know. But definitely go to his site and just poke around and take a look at some of the things that he has on finding out about your spiritual gift. That particular link that you're looking at now, that will take you directly to the page that has a number of things listed regarding your spiritual gift. So that's why that's there. So I would encourage you to do that. I mean, it's just a wealth of information. So that is all I am going to say about your learning styles as well as your spiritual gifts. Just be mindful that as the summer is rolling around and the kids are out of school and the learning is probably a little more relaxed, or you may just go on a for real vacation, this will be a great time for you really just to kind of sit back and observe your children, particularly those who are just starting with the homeschooling and that your children have been in a conventional school all of this time. Pay attention to the things that they do and the things that they don't do, how they respond in certain situations. Just kind of, pay attention to those things and really begin to get a feel for their learning style as well as their spiritual gifts. And as always, if you need a communications expert trained in the areas of public speaking and authorship, look me up on the web at www.speakthroughme.com. I turn rambling talkers into purposeful speakers and writers into authors. This is Dell with another edition of the Ebony Homeschool Chat.